Hello, everyone who's tuned on to our. Wait, so everybody, how are you? I hope you're doing good. This is Anthony, and it's yet another time that we get to speak, to have a guest, to hear something from someone who has a lot of experience in different areas of life. But today we have a special guest. For those of you who've been tuning into our shows, you've always encouraged us to keep on bringing guests on here to share with us their insights. Today we have a special guest. His name is known as Matthew Lesko. Matthew, for 4 decades, has been helping people to get government grants. That's in the US. And he's going to tell us how he's been doing that, what the experiences that he's had. And he has so much more to share with us. And I don't want to take one more minute just to keep going. I want us to go and meet Matthew in a second. But before we get into it, let me remind you, this is Now Tell Us podcast at nowtellus.com. And I'm your host, Anthony Moirore. And now let's officially go into the podcast. Here we go. Welcoming Matthew to the show. Hi, Matthew.
Hi. So I'm in now. Am I in the podcast now?
Yes, you're in the podcast. You're in the podcast right now.
This is what it's like to be in the podcast. I like to be in the podcast.
Good to see you. And
you feel that the connection is so good. You look like you're next door to me. Yeah?
And
we're halfway across the world. Yeah.
This is the wonders of the internet.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, I think my grandparents were immigrant coal miners in Pennsylvania. You know, and to think that that's where I could have been if they didn't move.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's good. Where are they originally from, if I may ask?
I grew up in Pennsylvania, in a state in the United States, northeastern Pennsylvania, and like my grandparents immigrated and settled in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, which was coal mining back then. No more coal mines now. Okay. And my dad had a little factory, manufacturer. He and another guy and a partner, and they made baby clothes. And I worked in that factory as a kid. They had me slave labor at eighth grade. I remember summer I had to work in the factory. Oh, I hated that so much. All my friends were in the swimming pool and things like that. And I hated working. I think I just hate being told what to do is really what it boils down to. And I hate it. So I said myself, I'm never going to work in a factory.
Not many kids like being told what to do, and
right.
So exactly. We get that. Now, and I'm also curious. Now, you talk about how with baby clothes and things like that. I'm curious to know, because I've seen that, and I don't know the person who is seeing you for the very first time. You have a very shiny costume on, and this is your trademark. Please tell us about that. Did it come from there or from somewhere else?
I'm a clothes horse. I always been, even as a child, as much as I could be in a little coal mining town. But no, I was always fascinated with clothes. And then I started business to business. I mean, I graduated from college, barely got through college. There was a draft where we had a Vietnam War there. And so at my age, they were drafting you. And so I joined the Navy for 3 years, got on the Navy, went back to school, got an MBA, and in computers back in the 70s. Wow. Started businesses that were failing. And then I got a business to business. So I was like a consultant to rich companies and doing research for them.
Okay.
And so you had to dress up, and I sort of enjoyed dressing up. But I always had something in my soul that I saw something as a child. A person had a suit on with the logo all over the suit, and that impressed me. God, that looks cool, yeah. And so then after every business I had as a professional was in information, and my mission in life was after the oil embargo back in the 70s, we
Mm-hmm.
ran companies before then and just worried about what's going on inside the company. We didn't have to worry about outside. And then when the oil embargo happened and every business was brought to their knees because of some little country halfway around the world nobody knew of, at least
Mm-hmm.
here in the United States, because of the oil embargo. So I said, companies have to worry about what's going on outside their business,
Mm-hmm.
not inside their business. So I wanted to start, and I was a computer geek at the time. I wanted to start an information system to tell organizations what's going on outside of their companies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so you had to dress up like a normal business person. And since then, it's always been information oriented, and I still am, and it's 50 years more later. Uh, but I had this inside me, dressing up. There was something in me that I just had to bring out. Actually, it came from failures. My first business I failed with was a computer business. I had another consulting business that failed. I was always failing. And I found myself, God, I was failing and I wasn't having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this is crazy. Why am I living a life where I'm doing everything like everybody said I should do it? And I'm not succeeding and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not having fun. And I'm doing this. So maybe 30 years from now, I'm going to have fun. That's a maybe. So
Yeah.
I bust my ass and be miserable for 30 years to maybe have fun. There's
Mm-hmm.
no guarantee. So I said, that's nonsense. Why would anybody live that way? So I
Mm-hmm.
said, I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to have fun today. And
Okay.
then my fun today, if I fail again, it doesn't matter. I'm already having fun. Why be miserable for 30 years to maybe have fun? If you
Mm-hmm.
have fun today, you're way ahead of the game. Anything you do is really like a detail.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all, planning some, and so that's why. So and when things start failing, you have to. The way to success, I think, is digging within yourself. I mean, external information and experts, they're helpful, but not really in a way. They're just little guideposts and, flap you this way or that way. But uh, real life comes from what's inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go find that, then you'll find what you're better at than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be good at something if you're trying to copy somebody else. They're good at that. They're natural at that. You got to
Mm-hmm.
find what's natural for you, because then you'll be better than anybody else out there, because that's natural. You're a natural basketball player or whatever. But if you try to play football, you're not going to be so good.
Mm. And we take that from someone who's walked on this planet for 8 decades. Eight.
Right. I still fight that. You have to fight it because our whole society wants to tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So and actually, when I started looking inside me, this is me, how I feel inside. So if I put it on the outside, it becomes a filter.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, if you don't like this, then you don't want to talk to me, and that's great because I'm not going to like you. So we're saving each other a lot of time.
We save each other a lot of time. Now, let's go to. I want us to dive into the topic of the day: how to get government grants. But
Uh-huh.
even we go into the points 1, 2, 3, the steps 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'm curious. How did it all begin for you? Because it's something that I know you are passionate on.
Yeah,
How did it
definitely.
all begin?
Well, actually, helping other people. And
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make them a living. And so I couldn't convince them. I developed something nobody wanted to buy. So I really was selling my research capabilities. And
Okay.
so I'd sell them to Fortune 500 companies because they'll pay for anything. And so, because I was trying to sell them my what I was trying to sell them that nobody wanted to buy was something I called an external management information system. Say, I'm going to monitor the whole world for you, and so you know what to do and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was sort of like a clipping service, if you want to, a news clipping. What's going on? They didn't want that, so I just said, hey, what do you want to know? So most of these people in business wanted to know about other businesses, or they wanted to know how to grow businesses, how to start businesses, how to buy businesses, all this stuff, money and
Mm-hmm.
businesses. So let me go see what I could find. I was in Washington, D.C., and I just go out and do research like a reporter or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. But I'd
Mm-hmm.
find government programs that companies could use to start businesses, grow businesses, or do anything, or information on other companies that were all public information that I could go in and find out the insides of all kind of their competitors and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just shocked myself. I didn't know anything about government programs and just think, wow, the government gives all that. I had no idea. And the government has so many experts that'll tell you how to do business and what, where, whatever. And I would get all this information for free. And then I would sell it to my clients for thousands and thousands of dollars. And
Mm.
after I was helping rich people, I said, John, more people have to know about this. All I'm doing was helping millionaires become billionaires, and that
Mm.
didn't sound like a good life.
Okay.
Where I grew up, I mean, everybody in that town has no idea about these things. They should know about it because they live here in America. You have access to all. Anybody who lives here has it, not just rich people. Yeah, and so that was my mission. And then I said I can't do consulting because I was charging thousands of dollars for that. So I said I have to do a book. So I found a book in the government that cataloged most of all these programs. And see, in our government, nothing is copyrighted.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that book, I cut and pasted it, didn't write anything. I sent it to New York, a publisher, Penguin Viking. They published it. I went out and did talk shows about it, and it became a New York Times bestseller. And I didn't write
Wow.
anything. Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that's what excites me about this every day. Anybody could do this.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody. And there's money to help. The problem with me now is Google. Google is death to people who don't have money.
Why?
Google is great if you have money because you want to buy something, you got a lot of people to help you. But if you need help and you don't have money, you want to start a business, you can't pay your utility bill or things like that. People are struggling, or you can't get that help in Google because you'll get 200 million websites that want to get your money.
Yeah.
See, and what you have to do is find the nonprofit organizations and the government office that give money for free. And there's about
Mm-hmm.
800,000 programs. I estimate between 600,000 and 800,000 programs that give money for free to people to do anything. Start a business, get out of debt, buy a home, get a better job, get health care, get free legal help. All those things are free in this country from these 600,000 to 800,000 programs, but they don't advertise. So you never find them in Google or anywhere else. And that's the rub. And people think, oh, I'm going to go to the government, I'll go to Google. You'll never find it there because it's all, and then it's complicated. So you don't know. You have to go to people in America now. What we have are people in every city and town
Mm-hmm.
who all they do is help people with a specific problem. Uh, and there's thousands of them. I don't know if
Mm.
you can you go online now? Can
Yes, I can
you?
go online.
Yeah, I want to show you some, but it's in American. I'm not sure they may not let you in, but let's try. Go to Find Help, FindHelp.
That's find help. Okay.
Now, findhelp.org, O-R-G. See, all
Or
the people who give money for free are ORG or GOV, government or nonprofit.
oh,
Get
I am in Europe. It says sorry, you've been
I see.
blocked. I
Naughty,
think
naughty,
kind of
naughty.
US. Huh? They
Sorry, I
block us
feel
from the good things. They block us. They don't want us to know the good things that are there.
right, exactly. Well, the money for doing things in the States.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I got to find some other things. I wonder
But
if this.
because I know there is someone who is watching me from the
Yeah.
States.
Oh,
You
they
can
know that. Yeah, right. Okay.
they,
Okay.
they know.
Let's make sure they see that. Okay. So make sure
Yeah.
they go there. Does anybody have a chat with you?
Right now,
Yeah.
I don't see anyone, but I know they will definitely watch and they can
Okay.
always
Okay.
comment.
Let me say them this findhelp.org. Okay. So
Okay.
let's go there. Tell them. Okay.
Yeah. If you're there, go to findhelp.org.
.org. Okay. See if they could go
Yes.
there.
And now,
Anybody in the
yes, and tell them what to find there.
right.
And
Okay, when you
okay,
go
I
there, you
just put it on the screen.
okay. If you go there, you put in your zip code. Okay, like if I put in my zip code, and I'm going to go, I'll do it in my zip code and tell you what I get. Okay,
Okay, tell us.
findhelp.org. I don't know how to do it, but my zip code is 20009. Okay,
Hmm.
now I'll put in, now it says there's 3,879 programs in my zip code that give out free money and help for food, housing, goods, transit, health, money, care, education, work, and legal. So I'm going to put in financial assistance. You need money to do something? Put in financial. Uh, and see, assistance. Okay, put that in. Okay, now it's searching a little bit. Okay, it comes up with 273 organizations
Hmm.
that offer financial assistance for free. That's free money. Okay, for for you, for you if you live in this city, and it's that way.
We need, hey, everyone else who's watching and is not in the US, we need to go to the US to get the free money.
Right, exactly. So that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing. And actually, if you're from anywhere in the country, world, you could come here and they'll help you start a business here.
Okay.
Yeah, you could immigrate here. There's money to start a business because they want you to create jobs in the country.
Hmm.
So if
Hmm.
you start a business here, they'll create jobs. And there's organizations here, like even on that you could start. Instead of putting in financial assistance, you could just put in business. And
Okay.
when you put in business, then there's 101 organizations
Uh,
that
uh,
help you
okay.
go
Yeah.
ahead,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
that help you start a business in
Hmm.
my zip code. 101, all for free. Counselors, mentors, help you get government contracts, help you get legal advice, help you get your business out of debt, help you find more. They got money to sell your goods overseas. So you want to go, go to Greece to sell something. They'll give you money to go to Greece and get a customer. They'll help you find people in other countries to sell your goods for you. The embassy, if your business is located in America, the embassy will go out and try to find people to represent you, to sell your goods and products in that country. See, all this
Wow.
is for you to increase your value here in the United States and help our economy. So that's why we give all this money away. Yeah.
So how would one go about it if they are not in the now in this age and time when we said like we are talking, you're just next door. That means that we are connected on the internet. How would someone go about setting a business there or having a project from there, getting the help from there, even though they are not there to work
Right.
where they are? We have such
Well,
a. I hope you get
you
it.
you can have an agent here and do
Okay.
that.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you have like a shell. It doesn't take much money,
Okay.
uh, and you put it under their name. I mean, that's what I would do if that looks promising to you,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and so you could do all the stuff because even you could apply for everything in Greece or wherever you are, but
Mm-hmm.
that you would have an address here in the United States. You know,
Okay.
uh, to collect the services or what, and it's all online anyway. So if you have an online business, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you have an address that the headquarters are here, I don't see any wrong.
Oh.
But you have to have somebody go and talk to these people if you want management help and things like that. Or
Okay.
actually, no, they do Zoom too. You could just say, "I'm on vacation in Greece." Do you have to?
Anything
And
happens. Anything happens.
right, exactly.
Yeah. Now
Um,
the question comes in now because outside of the US, and I don't know whether this happens the way it
uh,
happens in other parts of the world, because they only show uh, they only show the bad parts of things happening in other parts of the world. Now I've
exactly.
seen things happening in the US where we have some homeless people, they don't have anywhere, and and they are going through some challenges of every kind. Why when that help is available do they stay in that state?
Well, I wish I knew. Um, it's amazing. I mean, it's a chicken and egg. That I mean, I don't know. I mean, I help the homeless a lot where I am. I'm friends with a lot of them and whatever. It is usually people there need more care than anybody is willing to give them.
Hmm.
I mean, if you get beat up all your life and whatever, and we try, but then we don't do that. We rather send people to the moon.
Or do we still go back to the idea of lack of information? They are not informed on
Oh,
where to
absolutely,
where to get
absolutely.
the help that they need.
Yeah. And it takes skill. I mean, and also, boy, you can't just use the internet. I mean, to
Hmm.
me, to find real help, you have to talk to people and find the people that help people like you with your situation to find, because there's the complexity is so complicated out there. The help is, like there's, I mentioned where I live, there's 5,000 organizations. Yeah. And there's the obvious ones that go to and they're overworked and they don't know about the non-obvious. We don't teach people how to research because we think, okay, we go to the internet and we go Google. No, you can't. You know,
Wow.
or you call one person and they say, no, we have no more money. That doesn't mean everybody doesn't have money. See, I told
Oh,
you there's like, there's 700 organizations or 273 organizations. So you call one up and ask for money and they say no, you got 272 organizations more to contact. Yeah. And that's what
yeah,
it is.
and so now I get is not just even walking into an office and saying I want money and they place it on your hand.
Exactly.
It
No, it
doesn't.
isn't.
And this is where we are now. How to get government grants? Maybe
Right.
you've got some 1, 2, 3 points that you can tell someone on how to go about it. One, two,
Well,
three.
the magic is no magic. It
Mhm.
is perseverance. That's the only thing. I mean, anything new you're going to do in life, you're not going to just, you know, I don't, oh, there's a bicycle. I never rode a bicycle. I bet I could do that. You get on it and you'll fall down 10 times, right? Before
Mhm.
you learn how to ride a bike. So anything new is like that. When we first started to walk, we fall down a whole bunch of times, and you have to do that. So I think people, we're all spoiled in a way. We want to do it easy. We want an expert. And I think experts like me are a problem because we try to convince you it's easy. Just buy this. It's easy. You'll be a millionaire next Tuesday. Don't worry.
Uh-huh.
And that's a false hope. You have to do it. I mean, I had justified doing it because I got to get your attention. If I can't get your attention, I can't teach you anything. Uh,
Mm.
but it really is, you have to persevere, and it's not going to be easy, and you have to be dogged about it. You have to want it. That's why, to me, I think life is realizing your heart is smarter than your brain. So many of us want to be smart, so we want to know the answer, we want to know the magic, call the experts. Now, to get things to really happen, you have to feel it from the heart. And the same as a personal relationship. Oh, he's rich, he's this, or okay, then I guess I could love him. But your heart's not there. And the first time they piss you off, you're out of there.
Mhm,
I'm not
mhm.
going to put up with it. So that's why if your heart is there, in a personal relationship or a professional thing you're trying to do, you will stay for the bad times and you will get
mm,
through that because you want to do that. And there are always going to be bad times, and nobody gets out of this thing without being shit on in life. We're humans, and humans are
yes, yes,
the
we're humans.
target. The world is going to you're here for the world to shit on you.
What's the worst experience that you've had, or maybe what's the worst failure that you can remember? Because you talked
The
about
worst
failures, and
thing.
I know you've got a lot of lessons on failure.
Well, it's I don't know. God, I mean, I've been, busted 3, 4 times. I lost millions of dollars because I put on this suit. So all those things are bad, but I don't see them as bad. I see them as they're the only times you grow. If nothing's bad had happened to you, you're not growing. You're
Hmm.
going nowhere. Yeah. And that means you're not stretching. That means, yeah, just you're not, and we're organic. We're here to grow. And we're like a flower or a tree or anything else. We have to grow. So if you're
Yeah,
not trying to grow, you know, it's not going to be much of a life as I could see. I mean, I'm sure there's
that's
exceptions or whatever. I don't know. But you
that's
have to grow. Look for the bad things. I keep looking for them because I want to enjoy them again. And actually, in this life, I don't worry about eating. In the beginning, you're so worried about eating, and
hmm.
everything is more precious to you. And that's why it sounds devastating. But I
Wow.
think me, I always felt, and I would give away things just to see if I could do it again.
Things
Just
just to see if you can do it again. So,
yeah,
mhm,
yeah. Because if it was an accident, or is it really me, that's doing
mhm,
that thing?
mhm.
Or I hate to be in, uh, what do you call it? Somebody else control my life at all. So
Mhm.
even if the good things happen to me, I worry, oh, is this really because of me or not? Well, maybe I'll give it all away and see if I could do it again.
Interesting, interesting perspective. Now,
Mm.
it's not only about failure that you've been through, but I know that you have succeeded in several areas. Which could be your most interesting, most inspiring achievement in your life that you remember, or
Most
someone
important.
reminds you of?
Yeah.
Mm,
Well, I've done more than I ever thought. I had low expectations. If you keep your bar low, you could
okay.
reach those.
Hmm.
They're in reach. But no, and I mean, the first time I did a national TV show, I think it was Good Morning America. Wow. I thought, oh, wow. But really, and then I would see it. Then I realized in retrospect how shallow that is, because I go home and I call all my friends, and I got a New York Times bestseller. I mean, I flunked English in college. So to me, to be a New York Times bestseller, oh, you know, so I come home after that and I call all my friends and brag. And then I try to find those cheerleaders that never went out with me in high school, and stuff like that, and tell them about me. But then it's over. And that's why it's not, it's what you do every day. The things that really were surprising to me than anything else is having children.
Hmm.
They're the only thing I found that's better than I ever thought it would be. Everything
Better.
else, by the time I get it, I always wanted $1 million company. Finally got it after all the failures and everything. Now, big deal, yeah. Or like being on those big shows or a New York Times bestseller, big deal. But having children, and the thing in life is having something to do every day that you think is important and you think is contributing to somebody else. Now I feel the most important thing in life is giving. And I think it's important to give, not for other people, not that you're making the world better, but because it makes you feel so good.
I agree
It's
with you.
giving
I agree with you.
is selfish. It's the most selfish thing in the world is giving.
That's
Good.
interesting. The most selfish thing in the world is giving. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 Wonderful. Wonderful. It's really good hearing all this from you. And we are very honored that you came to this show.
It's just me. I'm struggling through life like everybody else is. That's why I think nobody should give advice to anybody. I mean, you could tell you what happened to you, but we're all struggling. Everybody thinks, oh, you tell me what to do. I'm like, nah, I don't know what to do with my own life. How am I, every day I worry about that. What gives me the audacity to tell somebody else to do something with their life? To me, what you
Mm,
do if you love somebody is you help them do what they want to do, not what you want them to do. That's
mhm,
what love is, because we're all so different. We can't do that. And we're all struggling in life. We don't know what to do. So the real magic in life is helping loved ones do what they want to do. Whatever it is, they want your opinion. Yeah, you think they're fucking nuts. Yeah, tell them, but I'll help you do it.
yeah, because I had someone say that if you want to solve your problems, then you better find as many people who have problems and help them. You find
Right.
your problem gone. I don't know how true is that.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Very much so. Or there was an old saying like that I heard, in the Turkish bazaar or something. Everybody puts their problems on a piece of paper and they trade them on. And at the end of the day, they want their own problems back. Yeah. Instead of the ones they trade it with. Yeah.
wow, wow. Wow. So we are almost coming to the end of this episode. But before we get off, please tell us about your group, about your
Yeah.
that
It's
you put
called,
together. Because
yeah,
for those people who are in the US right now, as I think of how to get to the US, tell us.
it's leskohelp.com, leskohelp.com. And what we have there is 15,000 people that help each other get government grants. So it's people helping people. And every day we have 3, 4, 5 hours of people on Zoom calls. You could join any of them and ask questions from people who just got the money. So not me. I'm not like the trained SEAL. I don't apply for grants anymore, but the people who apply every day, they to share with you how they got it. And that I think is valuable. And it's only $20. I mean, instead of charging tens of thousands of dollars I used to, I'm doing this for $20. And I can't believe it because we're also making money. And we're making profits. And so what we do is give the profits back. So every month we give $50,000 to $70,000 back to members in individual grants for people, 500, $1,000 every month. And we have 4 different grants we give out. People need money for anything, or we have one for car repair because people need cars in this country to get around and work, or one to pay rent. And then we also give free laptop computers. A lot of people in this country still try to do everything on the phone, and it's
Mhm.
hard to apply for all these kinds of things. So we give 30 free laptop computers every month too. So that's $50,000 or $70,000 a month. And I thought I could never be able to do that. I thought you had to be Jeff Bezos or, you know, or his ex-wife to do something like this. But now a kid like me from Wilkes-Barre could do it too. So
Wow.
that's giving.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So you start with what you have to give. Start,
Yeah,
start
absolutely.
give it.
Uh,
Yeah, so that's wonderful, and thank you for sharing that with us. So for those in
but
the US, and or those who will be going to the US soon, please, you can always sign up at leskohelp.com.
you,
Yeah, jump there and connect with all the people. So that's about it. And yeah, it's we thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, so we are signing off. This has been Now Tell Us, and I have been your host, Anthony Moroe, together with our guest, Matthew Lesko. We're saying bye for